Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are in Chapter 3, Section 3 for names. This is Mr. Spinks, as you are aware. So, guys, we're talking about some easy stuff today. It's not hard at all, but at the same time, it can get very confusing if you're not paying attention. Please stay with me, okay? All right, so here's the deal. We're going to do the conditional to start, okay? Now, this is the if-then statement, and basically the way it looks, as you're aware, is P. Let's see if I can write here. With the arrow is the if then, so if P then Q is what we're talking about. Now, we start by filling out this actual table the way we have the whole time. You know how this goes. We start with two truth values, then it could be true and false, or it could be false and true, or it could be false and false. These are all the possibilities given two variables on true or false. Now, when we're dealing with the conditional, the if-then statement always works. It only doesn't work for this one right here, false to true. It's the only one it doesn't work for. So if you've got a true statement, another true statement will be true. So if something true happens, then the other thing will be true. That's a true thing right there. This one is true going on right here, okay? If you start with a true thing, the second one could be false as well. That's okay. But if you start with a false thing, the second one will not be true, is the way that that one works. It's the only one that doesn't work with the conditional or with the if-then statement is the false to true, because false to false is more than good, okay? It's kind of like a memorization scheme. Just make sure you got this idea going on here, okay? Just basic, and we'll develop stuff with it. That's the first one. Second one we're going to talk about is the biconditional. The biconditional is the if and only if. And the biconditional is the one that the symbol for it is the double arrow. So here, if we've got a statement P and we've got a statement Q, the biconditional is if and only if, and is written with the double arrows. Now we're going to fill out the table the same way we always do. It can be true and true. It can be true and false. It can be false and true. Or it can be false and false. Now we're dealing with the biconditional here, okay? When you have the biconditional, the if and only if they both have the same truth values, that being they're both true or they're both false, that's the only way it's true. Okay? So if it goes true to true, if they're both the same truth value, that's going to be true. Whereas if it goes true to false, these are not both the same truth values. So with the biconditional, that is automatically false. In dealing with false to true, this is not the same truth value once again. Therefore, with the biconditional, the if and only if, that is a false statement. However, when we drop down to the bottom, false to false, these are the same. Okay? And since they have the same truth values with if and only if, or the biconditional, that indicates true. Check out the pattern, make sure you understand it, guys. That's what's going on. Now, as always, we are going to incorporate these with some basic statements, okay? So ours right now is negation of P. That's a nice negation, isn't it? Negation, there we go, of P. That's the conditional, if then Q. So if the negation of P happens, then Q happens, is what we're talking about. Once again, filling out truth values. This could be true and true. This could be true and false. It is possible for this to be false and true. It's also possible the false, false. Same thing as before. We're going to fill out the two categories on the sides, and in the middle of it, the operating symbol will be the answer column. So this is the answer column occurring right here. That one going straight down. All right, so as we look, let's talk about negation of P, or opposite of P. Well, if P is true, the negation of it is false. If P is true, the negation of it is false. If P is false, the negation of that is true. I'm just rolling through. And if P is false, the opposite or negation of that is true. That's the first column. I'll then fill in the Q column, okay, because it's the other variable that we're utilizing here. Now, the Q is just what Q says over here, which went true, false, true, false. Now, if you're operating the video right now, you go ahead and stop it yourself and you fill in these blanks in this middle and how it works with the conditional. For me, I'll answer it right here, but you should have already done this on your own for it to make sense. All right, false cannot go to true. That's the only one that doesn't work with the conditional. So this is false. Since that's the only one that doesn't work, though, false can go to false, true can go to true with the conditional, and true can go to false with the conditional. If you're confused on this, check out the previous slide on the conditional setup. Only false to true doesn't work on that. So this is my answer column right here. False, true, true, true. That's what we've got. All right. Moving on to the next example, and this is the last example for this video. We're still talking about two variables going on here, P and Q, and we are doing negation. Whoa, let's get the black again. We are really doing negation of Q, excuse me. There's an and symbol right there, P, all that in parentheses. We'll do that first, and then we'll do operating symbol to negation of Q. That's what we've got with our setup as of right now. Now looking at this setup, I'm going to draw a column here. Definitely going to be a column here. Going to be a column here for the P. This is your operating symbol between them, and the negation of Q is in this slot right here. Answer column occurs right here. This is going to be the answer column right here. Now I'm going to go inside the parentheses first. I'm going to set up what we've got. Our normal setup goes true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false. All right. Let's start inside the parentheses with the actual variables, not the operating symbol, but the variables. Negation of Q is the opposite of the Q's. So that one's true, so this one's false. That one's false, that's true. This one will be false. That one will be true. Just do a negation of Q. I fill out the P column next. P goes true, true, false, false. And based upon those two, and I got to stay inside the parentheses because of order of operations, the answer column between these two will deal with the and. The and. Well, for and to happen, they both have to be true. True and true is the only way that works. So this one would be false. This one is true and true, so this one would be true. That one's false, and this one's also false. If you're confused, check out 3 part 2, chapter 3 part 2. That was when we did the and symbol. So I fill out this column, but this isn't my answer column. That's inside the parentheses. I'm going to use this column right here, the green one, along with this column over here to determine the truth value for my middle part, for my operating symbol here. I'm going to roll negation of Q. Negation of Q is the opposite of the Q's. So it goes false, true, false, true. And I'm going to do this one, this last one, my answer column is going to come from the two greens. It is implies, or it is the conditional if then, which works only as long as you don't go false to true. So false to false works, that's a true. True to true works. False to false works. But that bottom one, false to true, does not work. That is a false truth value. And that is the answer column. That is the end of our video.